My eyes widened as I stared at the slender, long-legged man, only 6 years older than me, sitting on the sofa, my face scrunched up so much it could have flown to the sky. Mom, don't you think you need to reconsider? How could this person possibly be my uncle? Grandma never told me she had a son. My mom laughed. Silly child, we're not related by blood. When his father was in the army, he and your grandpa were like brothers. Our families are quite close. It's just that your uncle was always abroad before. So you've never met. Right now, Shen Mo is a biology professor. A very brilliant one. Our dear Khan is also a biology major. How about we let her intern at your research institute? My ex-boyfriend adjusted his glasses, his dark eyes holding an unreadable hint of a smile. Of course, I would welcome it. However, I asked Khan before, and she refused. My mother was surprised. You two have met before? I remained silent. Not only had we met, we even had a child together. Just half a year after returning to the country, Shen Mo held a lecture at my university. I fell for him at first sight, shamelessly pursued him, and finally won him over. Mom nudged my arm. Your uncle won't treat you poorly. Why would you refuse? Mom, when you called and told me you had found an internship for me, I had no idea the person you found was my uncle. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have used such a trashy excuse to break up with him. Now look, he's shown up right at my door. What am I supposed to do? Well, that's fine then. You can rest at home for 2 months. And then go work with your uncle. Strive to contribute to the country and bring honor to our family. What honor is there to bring? In 2 months, my baby bump will be showing. The only thing I'll be bringing is shame. I originally thought, he's a professor with a high IQ and good genes. Keeping this baby would be a good idea. But now I have to call him uncle. My mom cannot find out about this baby. My mother continued to chat with him. Shen Mo, you're already 28 and still not married. When I was your age, I already had Khan. Sister, I'm not in a hurry. How can you not be in a hurry? This is when you're at your healthiest. The best time to have a baby. Sob. Stop talking. Please stop talking. Any more of this and it'll be 1 body. 2 lives. Why is my life so miserable? No, I have to get rid of the baby secretly. I can't let my mom know. This baby came at just the right time. If I don't get 800,000 or a million from him, I won't be able to swallow this bitterness. I shot my uncle a death glare. He was very calm, walking elegantly as he boldly put his arm around my shoulder. Sister, I didn't prepare a gift for Khan on this visit. Now that she's here, it's the perfect time for me to take her shopping. My mother beamed, saying right in front of him, just going for a walk is fine. No need to spend a lot of money on a child. Behind his back, she pulled me aside and whispered, ask for whatever you want from your uncle. He's very rich. Thanks. Truly my biological mother. Chapter 03. Inside the shopping mall, I wore a sullen face and said nothing. From the moment we left the apartment complex, the hand he had on my shoulder had slid down to my waist. The whole way, I tried to push him away, but it was useless. A quick glance showed he was thoroughly enjoying it, as if this were just some playful flirting. What's wrong? Not happy to see me? He leaned closer, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Stop, I halted. Let's settle our old debts. First of all, we've broken up. Professor Shen, please let go of me first. Instead of letting go, Shen Mo held on even tighter. He lowered his head slightly, his breath tickling my ear. Firstly, the so-called breakup was just a text message from you, which I did not agree to. Secondly, your reason for breaking up was, we'll have a long-distance relationship when I start my internship. But you're about to intern at my research institute, so that reason is no longer valid. Fuck, I've met shameless people before, but never someone this shameless. Secondly, Shen Mo, I have to call you uncle. Even if we're not related by blood. Think about our seniority. Do you have any shame left? I raised my hand to hit him. He grabbed my wrist, and then he stuck out his tongue and licked my wrist. I was so shocked I froze. Goosebumps erupting all over my skin. Your reaction is still as cute as ever. His smile grew wider, and the way he squinted while wearing his glasses reminded me of a pervert from a manga. Right, so tell me, should I call your mother, sister? Or should I call her, mother-in-law? Damn, I almost let a stream of curses fly. But my family upbringing wouldn't allow me to swear at an elder. I took deep breaths repeatedly, but I still couldn't hold it in. Shen Mo, Professor Shen, little uncle. Damn you, are you asking for death? F**************. This was the first time I had ever sworn in front of him. As expected, just as I predicted, the man who always maintained an elegant demeanor now had a grim face. He stared at me, his gaze growing more and more serious. My dear, as your elder, hearing you swear like that, should I punish you perhaps? Holy crap, that look, that expression. Have you been secretly reading 18+ manga? Why are you so perverted? He shrugged. Didn't you share it with me? Don't you like me like this? Huh? When did I ever share that? A look of realization dawned on him, and his smile became even more frightening to me. So it turns out you weren't sharing it with me, but secretly reading it on your own. My dear, you must have forgotten that you logged into the iPad with my Apple ID. Didn't you? Chapter 04. Fuck. I suddenly remembered. Back then, my roommate told me about the vast world out there, and I wanted to climb the wall, to see it. A metaphor for bypassing the firewall. But I didn't have a ladder. It occurred to me that Shen Mo had studied abroad, so he must have an overseas account, which is why I asked to borrow his. Shen Mo continued to expose my flaws. Don't you know that when you share an account, the browse history is synchronized? My face burned, and my voice trembled. You. How much did you see? However much you watched each night. I saw that much. I even know about you bragging online that your boyfriend has 8-pack abs. Damn it. I've lost all face. Right now, I just want to find a hole to crawl into. Shen Mo smiled smugly. So I still can't understand why you wanted to break up. In front of others, you praised me for being handsome, having good stamina, and being a professor with a high IQ. So what part are you not satisfied with? Your possessiveness is too strong. I said it bluntly. He was a jealous person, and I was a natural sciences student, so my classes were full of male students. Every single day, he would interrogate me, asking if I had sat with another male student. Ever since I got with him, I hadn't seen a single male creature on the weekends, not even the delivery guy. On Friday nights, he would treat me to a delicious meal, then take me back to his apartment, only bringing me back on Monday when I had classes. At first, it was blissful. I loved being with him. But then, I accidentally read a yandere manga that scared the living daylights out of me. A term for a character who is obsessively and dangerously in love. From that moment on, I started imagining all sorts of scenarios. What if he was really a yandere? Gradually, I couldn't stand it anymore and wanted to escape from him. He stopped smiling, stood up straight, and stared at me. His aura instantly became oppressive. Zhang Kan, I can satisfy you in everything else, but not this one thing. Have you forgotten? You were the one who pursued me. Besides, before we started dating, I already warned you that I am very possessive. I hate it when other people touch my things, let alone a person. It was his intense stare that made me unable to breathe. Shen Mo, breaking up isn't a one-person decision. From now on, I will see you as an elder. As my uncle, definitely not my boyfriend. I thought he would get angry, but he was calmer than I expected. Fine, I respect your decision. I hope you don't regret it. Yes, uncle. Chapter 05. I was so aggressive when I broke up with him. But as soon as I heard that Shen Mo would be staying at my house for half a month, I was so scared I made up an excuse to go stay at a friend's house for a few days. My original plan was to use the baby to extort 800,000 or a million from him. But now I don't even dare to tell him. Because I saw his search history on his iPad. 2 months ago, he had searched for things like, will a female student become more obedient after getting pregnant? Best way to conceive, and other related keywords. Damn it, if I tell him about this, he might use the baby to kidnap me. But going to the hospital costs money. And no matter what, I have to make him pay for it. I called him. As expected, he picked up instantly. Based on this, he must still be hung up on me. As long as I reach out, he'll surely be eager to hand over the money with both hands. Hello, uncle. There was a slight pause on the other end before he spoke. What is it, uncle? Can you transfer me 10,000 yuan? I spent too much on game skins and I'm about to starve. I don't dare tell my mom. The other side went silent. After a long pause, what game is that expensive? Do you think I'm an ATM? You made your own mess, so you figure it out. My money is only for your auntie. Uncle, please, actually 3.000 would be fine. Uncle, beep, beep, beep. Fine, he's got some nerve now, daring to hang up on me. Before, every phone call would be filled with sweet nothings for ages. I'd want to go to sleep. But he'd be reluctant to let go. Men truly are heartless after they get what they want. Or has he found a new keyboard? Asterisk in this context. It implies that Shen Mo has found a new girlfriend who doesn't know about his possessive nature. We had clearly broken up. But for some reason, I was a little bothered. What did he mean by that, auntie? I sent a WeChat message to my mom to probe for information. She told me, your uncle went on a blind date. The other person is a beautiful, highly educated woman. Damn it, I haven't even found a boyfriend yet. Shen Mo. Haven't even found a boyfriend yet. Shen Mo. How dare you? Chapter 06. My mood plummeted. I couldn't sleep for several nights. Online, they talk about prenatal depression. But I'm 100,000 miles away from the natal part. Could I be depressed already? What's more frustrating is, I can't figure out how I fell for his trick. I looked at the iPad beside me, unable to sit still any longer. I heard that as long as iCloud is turned on, it can sync data from his phone. Right. I know doing this isn't right. But I really can't help myself. In the photo album, there were many screenshots of my conversations with him. I miss you so much. Let's have lunch together after your class tomorrow. Sensen tilde want kisses. Shen Mo. You're so gentle and virtuous. I want to marry you. Seeing the screenshots of these conversations, my heart felt like it had been hit hard. I vividly remembered the scene of me lying on the bed in my dorm room, hugging my phone, my face flushed and my heart pounding. We were so sweet back then. Just as I was feeling sentimental, a photo of a beautiful woman appeared at the very top. He had just saved that photo. It must be the beautiful, highly educated woman my mom mentioned. I was stunned. I couldn't deny it. This girl was truly beautiful. A delicate face. So I started to get curious about what Shen Mo and this girl would talk about. But I didn't dare log into his QQ. If I did, he would get a notification immediately. Just as I was struggling with what to do, several new conversation screenshots suddenly appeared in the album. I clicked on them and saw that beautiful woman praising Shen Mo. Professor Shen is so handsome. Exactly my type. Just like my future husband. So unoriginal. Shen Mo wouldn't like such a cliché confession. But a voice in my heart screamed, you're just sour. You're dying of jealousy. If Shen Mo didn't like it, why would he take a screenshot? Moreover, he saved this girl's name as baby. He never saved my name as baby. He saved my name as 350 grams. Because that's the weight of a heart. That was the romance of a biology researcher. And then, I saw that he had deleted our entire chat history. Damn it. I shot up from my seat. Shen Mo, you're something else. Changing your heart so quickly. Another photo appeared. I clicked on it and saw it was the girl asking Shen Mo out for a meal. The location was the 5th floor of the shopping mall. I thought about it. Alright then. I'll pretend to run into them by chance and, while I'm at it, make a decision about the baby in my belly. Chapter 07. In the luxurious restaurant, I held the menu up to cover my face, secretly peeking at the meticulously dressed, beautiful couple sitting not far away. The girl was even prettier than in her photo and dressed sexily. 2. I had lost. That dog of a man. Shen Mo wasn't even wearing his glasses today and had deliberately styled his hair. He had clearly told me before that he only styled his hair on important days when he was with me. Liar. He really had some nerve. I wasn't over him yet. How could he move on so relentlessly, even actively getting close and showing off his handsome side to someone else? I gnashed my teeth in frustration. So angry I wanted to stomp my feet. The waiter came over to my table and asked what I wanted. I glanced over and saw that even a glass of plain water was 40 yuan. I was so startled I stretched out my hand and pointed. I'm here to find someone. Uncle. I ran towards Shen Mo. Shen Mo's smile and conversation stopped. He turned his head to look at me, his eyes holding a deep meaning. You're here? That sentence sounded as if he knew I would come. I didn't know how to answer him. So I decided to greet the girl first. This must be Auntie. Auntie, you're so pretty. The girl smiled. Thank you. Just one, thank you, and I couldn't help but shoot a look at Shen Mo. He seemed very indifferent, gently introducing me to the girl. This is Sister Lan's daughter. When he looked back at me, his tone was very cold. What are you doing here? Asking for money? In that instant, I was a bit dazed. Ask for money? That's right. But it seemed my purpose was more than just that. How much do you want? Shen Mo took out his phone. At least 3.000. I'll give you 5.000. Don't disturb your uncle's date. He transferred the money very quickly. The notification popped up on the phone in my pocket. But I felt extremely uncomfortable. This feeling was like being disliked. Like he was eager to shoo me away. Well, it made sense. I was the ex-girlfriend. An ex-girlfriend showing up in front of the current girlfriend is inherently an annoying situation. I dejectedly turned to leave. I had only taken one step when I heard the girl behind me speak up. Shen Mo, why do you need to be so generous? She's not even your real niece. If you give her that much, aren't you afraid she'll ask for more next time? I was stunned, blinded by anger. I spun back around and retorted with a snide remark. 5,000 is a lot? If you knew he bought me Chanel bags and even a Van Cleef and Arpels necklace, wouldn't you just die of jealousy? Zhang Kan. Shen Mo suddenly called my name, his eyes looking a bit strange. The way I saw it, it seemed he was blaming me. In an instant, the girl's expression turned extremely ugly. Even if I wasn't Shen Mo's ex-girlfriend, I was still his friend, his niece. On what grounds was I being sniped at with such a nasty tone by a girl who had only known him for a few days? I looked at the girl, then back at Shen Mo. You've only known each other for a few days and you're already taking her side like this? I felt extremely wronged. Uncle, don't you feel guilty towards your ex-girlfriend? Chapter 08. Shen Mo's eyebrows twitched. He stood up and grabbed my arm. Go wait for me outside for a moment. I'll take you home. What's the point of going home now? I was about to die from anger. And to think I had spent all this time wondering whether or not I should have the baby. Now, have my ass. I shook his hand off. Professor Shen Mo, I came here today to pass on a message from your ex-girlfriend. She said, as long as you give her enough money, she won't bother you anymore from now on. As for the baby, if it doesn't have a father, it doesn't need to be born. I kicked Shen Mo hard. And after kicking him, I ran. No matter how he called for me from behind, I just ran faster, not even bothering to look back. I sat crying on the 5th floor emergency staircase. Shen Mo kept calling my phone. I found it annoying, so I blocked him. I knew I shouldn't have caused such a scene while someone was on a date. But I felt wronged. I was jealous. I was indignant. On what grounds? On what grounds could he forget so quickly after saying he loved me? I wanted to go home. But as soon as I stood up, a liquid gushed out from below, along with a sudden, amplified cramping pain that made me unable to stand steady. I almost tumbled down the stairs. My hand touched the area beneath my skirt. My ears were ringing. Help. Chapter 09. Where are you? My best friend called me. I was so scared my voice trembled. Tears streaming down my face. Dao, I'm bleeding. Damn, don't tell me you're having a miscarriage. The slightly ajar emergency exit door behind me was suddenly pushed open. I never expected Shen Mo to find me here. Both he and I were stunned. His eyes swept over my backside. I instinctively turned, using my hands to cover the bloodstain on my bottom. Hello, Kan. Hello. Dao was still yelling into the phone. Calling an ambulance now will take too long. My boyfriend and I are nearby. We'll drive over to you right away. Kan, hang in there. His face visibly turned pale. You're pregnant with my child? But I used protection. His voice was shaking. I felt incredibly wronged. My voice hoarse and mixed with sobs. You're not going to admit it, are you? Protection isn't 100% effective at preventing pregnancy. I admit it. He swept me up into his arms and started running. My legs dangled, and I could feel the blood flowing more heavily from below. It hurts. I clutched my stomach. His trembling hands took off his jacket to cover me. Just hold on a little longer. We're almost there. He was even more agitated than I'd expected. Even his eyelashes were trembling. I had seen many sides of him, but I had never seen him like this. He looked terrified. Terrified of what? That I would pin this on him? You asked me for money because of this? You don't want the baby? He asked, slightly out of breath. Yeah, why? I didn't look at him, feeling extremely wronged inside. If we keep it, what should the baby call you? Dad? Or great uncle? Zhang Kan, he said angrily. I'll say it one more time. I am not your biological uncle. He took continuous deep, heavy breaths. He probably knew this wasn't the time to be angry with me. So he suppressed his emotions and comforted me in a soft voice. Endure it for a little bit. We're almost there. My nose tingled as I looked at him. You really want to keep this child? Yes. If you had to choose between me and the baby, would you save the adult or the child? He seemed somewhat speechless. We haven't gotten to that point yet. Answer me. Shen Mo glanced at me, his expression very serious. All right, I want the baby, but on one condition. The baby must have a mother. My heart suddenly trembled. The tip of my nose stung, and I opened my mouth. Shen Mo, I'm telling you, nothing can happen to me or the child. Okay. Chapter 10. Do you know what it feels like to be so embarrassed you want the ground to swallow you whole? I was fine, but Shen Mo's reputation as a biology professor was almost completely ruined. The entire way, he ran like a madman while carrying me, shouting, "Hurry up, she might be in premature labor. You must save both mother and child. I want them both to be safe." As soon as the nurses heard that, they immediately pushed me inside on a gurney. They already had an IV drip ready, but after a series of tests, the result was, I got my period. How can it be my period? I was astonished. I didn't know where to hide my face. Shen Mo also muttered to himself, "How can it be her period?" The doctor was speechless. "Did you take a pregnancy test before?" I did. 2 lines. I frantically tried to explain, holding up 2 fingers. Dao, who had just rushed over, also chimed in to support me. I saw it clearly too. It was definitely 2. The 2 of us suddenly fell silent and glanced at each other. 2 hours later, Dao was hugging me and sobbing. "Oh my God, how could I be pregnant? I was drinking and dancing just yesterday." I stroked her hair to comfort her. A while back, Dao's period was also late, so we took the tests together. Shen Mo sat properly beside me, looking very tired. By now, his originally well-styled hair had been completely messed up by his own hands. He bowed his head, his hands constantly pinching the bridge of his nose. After a long time, he finally spoke in a low voice. "Can you come home with me now?" I was too embarrassed. For a moment, I couldn't come up with a reason to refuse. On the way home, neither of us said a word. The atmosphere was so strange that I had to be the one to break the silence. "Where's Auntie? Did you just leave her there?" He took a deep breath, speaking through what sounded like gritted teeth. "What Auntie? That girl. She was scared away by your 2 words. The baby." I felt wronged again. "What? Are you going to blame me for ruining your potential relationship?" He'd had enough. Shen Mo parked the car in the garage and turned to look at me seriously. Con, in your eyes. Am I really such a fickle man? You clearly are. You saved her name as. Chapter 11. I immediately shut my mouth, almost revealing that I had secretly looked at his chat history. But at the same time, I had a realization. Wait a minute. That chat history wasn't right. I took the screenshots for you to see on purpose. I wanted to test whether you really didn't love me anymore or if this was just a lover's quarrel. So? He got out of the car to open the door for me, nodding with a smile. It's confirmed. You still love me. As if. I retorted immediately, but I couldn't stop my heart from pounding. My mind was a complete mess right now. Out of habit, I took his hand, letting him help me out of the car. My face was burning hot. His hand, holding mine tightly, was also very hot. Con, let's make up, okay? Just before we entered the elevator in the garage, he led me to an empty corner and wrapped his arms around my waist. After the scene I had just caused, I really had no face to look at him. He used his long, slender fingers to gently wrap a strand of hair behind my ear. It tickled. Even my heart was ticklish and trembling. "Okay, alright, MMPH. He suddenly kissed me, as passionate as fire. 10 minutes later, he adjusted his tie and walked out from the corner, looking exhilarated. His face might as well have had the word, satisfied, written all over it. As for me, I was kissed so thoroughly I couldn't even utter a single word. My only thought was what to do about the hickey on my body now. My mom absolutely could not find out. Chapter 12. At home, my mom knew I was back and deliberately made a few extra delicious dishes. Shen Mo, have a chicken drumstick. Con loves the chicken drumsticks I make the most from my dreams. Haha, I wish I had a son as outstanding as you. By the way, is your relationship with your mother still good? It's still good, sister. I'm serious. Your cooking is so delicious I want to be your son-in-law. Ahem. The rice I was eating shot out of my nose. Eat slowly. No one's going to fight you for it. My mother patted my back. Her hand suddenly stopped, and she pulled at the collar of my shirt. What happened to you here? In an instant, my head was buzzing. Help. The collar of these pajamas was a bit wide, and my mother had seen the hickey. I threw a pleading look towards Shen Mo. He adjusted his glasses and very naturally came to my rescue. She made that mark with a straw. Sister. She was copying a short video, giving herself a hickey. ... He was a professor. For goodness sake, how could he make up such a ridiculous story? If I were to give myself a hickey, why wouldn't I put it on my neck? What was even more ridiculous was that my mother actually believed it. She patted my shoulder. Afraid people will laugh at you for being a single dog? I nodded helplessly. My mother leaned in closer. Hey, isn't there a classmate at school who treats you really well? He's from our hometown, too, and has even brought you home before. Mom, I was scared stupid. I saw Shen Mo's eyes go wide. You can't just say dangerous things like that. He froze like a statue. A few seconds later, he smiled elegantly, but that gaze of his was extremely dangerous. Khan has a close relationship with a male student at school? How come I didn't know?
Chapter 13. Haha, girls are thin-skinned. It's normal for them not to want to talk about it. My mother slammed her hand on the table. Once, it was past midnight and Khan couldn't get a ride back to her dorm. It was that young man who drove to pick her up. He even went to the airport in the middle of the night to pick her up and dropped her right at the main gate of the girls' dormitory. So thoughtful. Mom, stop talking. Is my little girl shy? Your face is all red. Shy? Where was I shy? I was clearly terrified. Without even looking, I could feel Shen Mo's gaze on me like a small knife. Probing, I put down my chopsticks. I'm full. I'm going to my room to unpack first. I bolted. I hid behind my bedroom door to eavesdrop. My mother was still gossiping with Shen Mo about me and that male student. I didn't even have to think to know I was about to be done for. Before bed, Shen Mo sent me a text message. A very close relationship with a male student? He even dropped you off right at the gate of the girls' dormitory? Your mom also said that student often treats you to meals. Zhang Khan, you are a married woman. Can you show me a little respect? I wanted to cry but had no tears. We're not even married yet. I could already imagine his expression on the other side, looking like he was about to cough up blood. Hubby, listen to my explanation. Fine, because you called me hubby. I will listen to your explanation. I typed. That was a year ago. I hadn't even met you then. What about after? Don't you already know everything that happened after? Shen Mo sent a happy sticker, then immediately started a video call. I heard my mother's voice. Shen Mo, have some fruit. It's all right, sister. My girlfriend is calling. I was so scared I dived under the covers, deceiving myself. Shen Mo, you liar. You were clearly the one who called. My mother probably still thought Shen Mo's girlfriend was that beautiful, highly educated woman. She even teased, so you've made it official? When's the engagement? In the video, Shen Mo showed a happy expression. Soon. I'm still thinking about how to ask my mother-in-law for her permission. My mother laughed loudly. How could she not agree to our outstanding Professor Shen Mo? If it were me, I'd probably start preparing the dowry right away. Really, sister? From this angle, Shen Mo revealed a wicked smile. Of course. Have I ever lied to you? I couldn't listen anymore. My dear mother, am I your cheap daughter? He hasn't even brought the betrothal gifts and you're already thinking about preparing the dowry? Chapter 14. Shen Mo waved his hand. Yes, you can go out first. Sister, my girlfriend is very clingy. She can't be away from me for a minute. I couldn't stand it. Hearing the sound of the door closing on the other end, I immediately lowered my voice and yelled, Narcissist, who's clingy? I'm clingy. Why was Shen Mo being so frank and a little proud at the same time? Then who can't be away from whom? It's me who can't be away from you. That's more like it. But how were we supposed to handle our relationship? I hadn't figured it out yet. How would my mom accept the fact that I'd become her peer? No, that her little uncle had turned into her son-in-law. I didn't dare to take the risk. So I could only leave home for my internship. I also stayed over at Shen Mo's place openly and began our life together. During the day, I was Shen Mo's assistant. At night, Shen Mo was mine. Khan, I was wrong. Who would have thought that the professor in the white lab coat, so arrogant at the research institute during the day that he wouldn't acknowledge his own family, would be sitting cross-legged on the bed at night in his boxers with a wronged expression on his face. A Chinese idiom meaning to be so aloof as to not recognize anyone, including close family. That little expression, HMPH, I'm the one who's wronged. I leaned against the headboard. How could our outstanding Professor Shen ever be wrong? I'm the one who was wrong. I shouldn't have worn perfume in the research lab. Since it was my first day in the new position, I had put on a little makeup. Who knew that on my first day, before I could even socialize with anyone, I would be directly called into the training room. And then, Shen Mo immediately gave me a stern lecture. He told me I was UN, Pro, FEs, Scion, Al. I knew I was in the wrong, but being criticized by my own boyfriend, it was hard not to feel embarrassed. Khan, I reminded you because it's a work regulation. To me, research is a very serious matter. Shen Mo explained, out of breath. I raised an eyebrow. I know, so what now? Shen Mo nodded seriously. Khan disciplining me is also regulation. It's our household rule that a husband cannot raise his voice at his wife. Peeved. I couldn't hold it in and burst out laughing. Since when did our house have this rule? How come I didn't know? I just added it today. So, in the future, if I say anything at work that makes you unhappy, you can take it out on me at night. I guarantee no hitting, no scolding, and no talking back. So, can you forgive me today? Shen Mo suddenly scooted closer to me. He took off his glasses. I could see his eyes clearly, while he had to squint to see clearly. This action, combined with his smiling expression, was simply illegal. His mouth was clearly saying the most fearful words, yet his demeanor was exactly like a predator waiting to enjoy a delicious meal. My heart accelerated, and I swallowed hard. It's not that I can't forgive you, you should serve me well. He suddenly leaned in for a kiss. Extremely passionate, as you command, my dear wife. Chapter 15. My love, it's time to get out of bed, or your director will get angry. Shen Mo kissed my face. Only then did I remember that today, Shen Mo had been invited to my old university to give a lecture. It was my first time attending a lecture at my alma mater as a special guest. And I have to say, it was very exciting, but I never expected that before I even had a chance to show off. Professor Shen, may I trouble you for a moment? The person speaking was a baby-faced underclassman who looked like he still had milk on his breath. His face was flushed, he was holding a piece of paper, and he had a hesitant, wanting to speak but stopping, expression. You want an autograph? I asked reflexively. After all, after the lecture, quite a few people had come up to Shen Mo for autographs. But they were all female students. This young man was the first male student. Shen Mo smiled elegantly and stepped forward, taking the fountain pen clipped to his breast pocket. He was about to take the paper, but the underclassman dodged him. The way the young man looked at me was like he was holding in his pee. Senior, I like you. Then he immediately shoved the paper into my hand, turned, and ran off. As he ran, he even yelled, "Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Holy crap." We were both stunned. I glanced at Shen Mo. His face was as green as the grass growing on his head, and the corner of his mouth was twitching. She is my girlfriend, mine. Who could imagine that a man who was usually so elegant and reserved could also have a moment like this? He utilized the advantage of his long legs and grabbed the young man. Chapter 16. The young man was startled, his lips trembling. When had he ever encountered a scene like this? He wished he could just burrow into the ground, apologizing non-stop. I'm sorry, senior, I didn't know you were Professor Shen's girlfriend. I just thought you were single? Where does she look single? Shen Mo was annoyed and kissed the corner of my lips right in front of the young man. He was becoming more and more different from his usual image, even baring his teeth at the boy. See that? We kissed. We're a couple. Shen Mo. In an instant, my face flushed red. I wiped my mouth and looked around. There are people all around us, and so many of them know me. Shen Mo took his glasses off directly. He rubbed his nose, his beautiful, narrow eyes looking around unhappily. I want everyone to know you have a boyfriend, to prevent anyone else from trying to woo you in the future. He had really given up his professor image. Many female students around us were whispering, with all sorts of disappointed and mournful expressions. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I was both shy and speechless. A few female students even threw Shen Mo's autograph straight into the trash can. I punched him lightly, the corners of my mouth curving up slightly. That's what you get for talking nonsense. Now no girls are into you anymore. I have a girlfriend. What do I need other girls to be into me for? Shen Mo acted as if it was no big deal and directly wrapped his arm around my waist as we left. Chapter 17. But even until mealtime, there were still 2 words at the bottom of this man's eyes: melancholy. My love, it seems you are very popular. He used a lot of force to pick up a piece of meat, the chopsticks nearly piercing through it. I swallowed reflexively. Ah, so? Angry? I'm angry at myself. He put down his chopsticks and stopped eating. We've been together for over half a year. How can people still think you're single? Is it because you're not happy when you're with me? When he looked up at me, his eyes were extremely serious. So I need to treat you better, to prevent you from being tricked away by someone else. We're not going to the research institute today. I'll buy you a few handbags. Peeved, I couldn't help but spit out all the tea in my mouth. As expected of a man of science, even his way of expressing affection was so simple and crude. Shen Mo, is treating me well just about spending money on me? He fell into deep thought, only speaking after a long while. I've told you before, you were my first love. How to pursue a girl, how to say sweet nothings. I learned it all from the comics you read. Don't mention the 18+ comics. I need my dignity. Zhang Kan, if I don't fit your ideal type, you can tell me directly. I will learn seriously. Looking at this handsome and serious face, my heart was truly about to melt. But at the same time, I realized something. Wait a minute, that yandere personality of yours. You didn't learn that from comics, did you? After all, his every little action when he kissed me was exactly like in the comics. I directly named the comic series. He nodded, learning the bad boy tone. Don't many people say that girls really like this tone? SOS. Chapter 18. Don't learn it. Absolutely don't. The female lead in that series has Stockholm Syndrome. But I don't. At the end of the story, the male lead even locks up the female lead. Applying that kind of comic to the real world is too terrifying. He smiled and moved closer, taking my hand, lifting it to his lips for a kiss. Don't worry, I'm not a child. I have my own judgment. Although my desire for possession is quite strong, I understand that if you truly love a girl, how could you bear to take away her freedom? I'm just worried you'll leave me, just like my mother did. Shen Mo's mother had left with another man. That was also the reason he came back to the country. After I brought the new handbags home, I shared a few, too hard, too easy to break, comics with him. The effect was very obvious. He was afraid I was like sand. If he held on too tightly, I would slip away. Ever since he finished reading those comics, he finally stopped meddling in my normal interactions with other male students. But he would still get jealous. For example, just now, I was coordinating documents with a senior at the research institute. Outwardly, Shen Mo said, "It's fine. Professor Zhou is very good in the field of cell research. You should learn more from him." After saying that, he went to get some water and stood hiding by the water cooler. Conflicted, for half an hour. Get out of my way. Shen Mo was surprised. You saw me? I took a breath. Bro, I'm not blind. Your size 43 feet are sticking all the way out. He was embarrassed. I'm not trying to obstruct you. It's just that the more he explained, the more it sounded like a lame excuse. He sighed and sat down next to me. You are clearly my assistant. Yet you spent the whole day in Professor Zhou's lab. And you're still coordinating documents at home. Shen Mo. Professor Zhou is 50 years old. I know. I just want to say that it's 11 p.m. now. The rest of the time should be for me. He hugged me, using his own weight to press me down onto the sofa. Holy moly. His frowning expression was against the rules. For a moment, I wanted to tear his mouth apart. I was so scared I quickly grabbed his phone and opened his search history. As expected, he had recently been reading comics about clingy little puppy dog boys. Shen Mo, this cute expression doesn't suit you. You're not some little puppy. Is that so? He raised an eyebrow, his voice low and husky. If it doesn't suit me, why are you swallowing? Or is it that, no matter what I look like, you have no resistance? Where did he learn such cheesy sweet nothings? Chapter 19. I'm going to register my marriage the day after tomorrow. I want to have a meal with you. Remember to bring your man along. Because of a message from Dao Dao, Shen Mo and I took a leave of absence and went back home. But who knew this place would be so small? Of all things, Shen Mo ran into an acquaintance. In the restaurant, I nudged Shen Mo with my elbow. Look, it's your auntie. What auntie? Shen Mo frowned, turned his body accordingly, and his smile immediately froze. I've already deleted her. Besides, I never agreed to date her in the first place. The beautiful, highly educated woman was having a meal with another man, her expression looking very grim. It seemed she saw Shen Mo. Her eyes lit up, and she immediately ran over. Right in front of me, she grabbed Shen Mo's arm. Shen Mo, can we be together? Shen Mo nearly jumped up from his chair, his expression as if he would have an allergic reaction to being touched. Let go, I have no relationship with you. Instantly, she burst into tears. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have run away that day when I saw the baby. My parents are forcing me to go on blind dates again. I don't like that man. I couldn't listen anymore. Hey, miss, can you please not cling to him? She must have been hot-tempered too, because as soon as she opened her mouth, she started scolding me. Do you have any manners? What are you meddling in my and your uncle's relationship for? Be careful, or I'll tell your mother. I was immediately stunned. I hadn't even processed what she had said before my mind exploded. What did she say? No manners? I don't have a father to teach me. Do you not have a father to teach you either? I was so angry I wanted to curse. But before I could make a move, Shen Mo directly picked her up and threw her out. Of course, she huffed and puffed, threatening to go find my mother to complain. I was dazed, still not having figured out how to explain this to my mom. Chapter 20. Shen Mo and I booked our tickets for the day after tomorrow. So we rested at home for these 2 days. My mother was cooking. I stood beside her helping to wash the vegetables, planning to probe for some information. Mom, I want to find a boyfriend. Would you agree? My mother paused for a moment. That's a good thing. What are the boys' family conditions like? My heart was pounding. I tremblingly raised my hand and gestured a number. Older than me, by 6, 7 years. Afraid that my mom would guess it was Shen Mo, I changed 6 to 7. My mother frowned. That's a bit of a big age gap. So, have you thought about when you want to have a baby? After the disastrous pregnancy misunderstanding last time, how would I dare to think about having children? I shook my head. I have no plans for that at the moment. I'm still young. Let's wait 10 years. No way. My mother immediately shook her head. In 10 years, how old will that young man be? Will his body still be up to it? Then, ahem, sister. Shen Mo couldn't listen anymore and walked over in embarrassment. In 10 years, the young man will only be in his early 40s. How could his body not be fine? My mother shook her head like a rattledrum. Look at the auntie next door. Because she had her child late. The baby is weak, and it's easy to have health problems in old age. My mood sank. After the meal, no one said a word. Chapter 21. Taking advantage of my mom going out for her public square dancing. Shen Mo and I took a walk to digest our dinner and seriously discuss this matter. It seems like my mom doesn't agree. What do we do now? Don't panic, we'll keep thinking of a way. Shen Mo comforted me. Who would have thought that we'd run into an acquaintance while taking a walk late at night? Oh, isn't this Con? The moment I saw that the person was our neighbor, Auntie Tran, I was so scared I quickly kicked Shen Mo and put a meter of distance between us. Shen Mo had a wronged look on his face. Auntie Tran, what a coincidence, I said with a smile. Auntie Tran smiled, looked at Shen Mo, and asked in a low voice, is this your boyfriend? I heard your mom say you were dating a professor who is both tall and handsome. I didn't expect him to be so handsome in person. Question mark. We were stunned. Wait a minute, did I hear that right? I looked at Shen Mo, he was just as surprised as I was. Auntie Tran, what did my mom tell everyone? Which professor did she mention? My question made Auntie Tran confused. Your mom said you were dating a biology professor who just returned from studying abroad. Is it this young man? For the first time in my life, I saw Shen Mo change his expression faster than flipping through a book. Just a moment ago he was lost in thought, and now he looked like a blossoming flower, elegantly stepping forward and nodding. That's me, I'm Con's boyfriend. It's just that I never expected my mother-in-law to praise me in front of others. I'm overwhelmed by the favor. Peeved. Mother-in-law? Weren't you just calling her sister this evening? How did you change your tune so quickly? Chapter 22. So that means my mother knew. This was something I had never expected. But thinking back now, my mother's reactions when she talked to Shen Mo seemed to have already revealed clues. My mother once said that if it were her, she would immediately prepare my dowry. My mother once said that if she had a son like Shen Mo, she would wake up laughing from her dreams. I waited at the door for my mother to come back from her square dancing. The light on the porch suddenly flashed on, startling my mother and making her jump. Silly child, what are you squatting here for? My expression was excited, yet a little scared. Mom, about my and Shen Mo's relationship, did you know all along? Shen Mo stood behind me, his voice a little fearful as he called out, sister, don't you call me sister? My mother's voice was fierce. Just as I was wondering if my mother was angry, Shen Mo smiled and corrected himself. Yes, mother-in-law, I got it, as expected of the man who has known my mother longer than I have. I wouldn't dare to be so brazen with my mother. Yet he dared. My mother pursed her lips, putting on an act as if he had to sweet-talk her a bit more before he could enter the house. She put her bag down and started nagging. You think your mother is stupid? I've been around the block. I saw everything in the expressions you two made when you faced each other. She walked over and poked my forehead, then poked Shen Mo's forehead, one after the other. Such nerve, daring to flirt right under my nose. I couldn't help but laugh secretly. Mom, you're not angry that I'm dating your brother? Of course, I'm angry. My mother sighed, but at least I know Shen Mo's family well. He's handsome and rich. If you're with him, I can at least be at ease. Besides, if he treats you poorly, I'll go find your granduncle and tell him to discipline his son. I will treat Con well. Shen Mo nodded seriously. I couldn't help it. I hugged my mother's arm and acted cute. Shen Mo copied me, also acting cute. It looked like my mother was about to float to the sky. Shen Mo, I'm telling you, don't even dream of marrying my daughter without 800,000 or a million. Yet Shen Mo looked overjoyed, immediately kneeling to seal the deal. Mom, I'll bring the betrothal gifts to the door tomorrow and propose. End of main story. Extra chapter. I am Shen Mo. Con and I dated for half a year. On the day of her winter break, I prepared fresh flowers and a ring to propose to her. But I never expected that what awaited me was a text message. She wanted to break up with me. Shen Mo, next semester I have to do an internship. My mom has already used her connections to arrange it for me. So we'll probably have to be apart. I don't like long-distance relationships because I don't feel secure. So, let's break up. I had imagined that conflicts could arise between couples in love. But I never expected that we would go straight to the final step without ever having a single argument. When I called her, I found I had been blocked. I went to the school to find her. But she was already gone. Why couldn't she just listen to me for a bit? If she was afraid of a long-distance relationship, I could go to her city. Wouldn't it be fine if I compromised? Helpless, I used my connections to find contact information for her family. When I dialed the phone number, I realized I had already saved it before. Con's mother was actually my sister? After the initial shock passed, I felt a little happy. At the very least, I could use the excuse of visiting my sister to have a heart-to-heart with Con. But I was wrong. I thought she would be happy to see me. But she wasn't. The long-distance relationship was just an excuse. She felt my desire for possession was too strong. That I was too clingy. This was the real reason she wanted to break up. That's right, my desire for possession is very strong. But I had told her all of this. Because my mother always talked about loving me and my father. But in the end, she still ran off with another man. But after coming home, I also thought it over carefully. As long as she could come back to my side, I wouldn't cling to her so tightly like before. I would do my best to give her enough freedom. Although she wanted to break up with me, based on my understanding of her, I was still in her heart. Because when I kissed her wrist, even though she avoided it, even though she scolded me, her eyes still held the same shyness as when we had been intimate. Our half-year relationship wasn't fake. As long as I was still in her heart, I could use a cunning trick. I remembered that she and I shared an Apple ID. I deliberately went on a blind date and even spent 4 yuan to hire a girl to act out the scene with me. Actually, I was very scared. I wasn't sure if Con would see the screenshots I intentionally saved in iCloud. Nor was I sure if she would come find me at the appointed place after seeing them. Luckily, she came, but I never expected she would bring me such earth-shattering news. She was pregnant. When I saw the blood flowing down her legs, I was truly terrified. I knew that in such a critical situation, the first thing to do was to take her to the hospital. But I couldn't help but wonder, how could she suddenly be pregnant? I had clearly used protection. But I trusted Con. Con was not that kind of girl. If we really had a child, then for me, it would be a good thing. Previously, when looking at her activity history, I had read a comic. The male and female lead's family of 3 became even happier after having a child. After reading it, I couldn't help but research how to get a woman pregnant. But I understood that this kind of thing couldn't be rushed. Besides, I didn't know if Con liked children. What if she didn't? The loss would be greater than the gain. But Con said to me, Shen Mo, I'm telling you, nothing can happen to me or the baby. That moment was probably the happiest of my life. I held her and ran desperately towards the emergency room. While waiting in the corridor, I looked up how to care for a pregnant woman, how to nurture the baby. My hands were trembling as I searched. But the doctor poured a bucket of cold water on me. Con was not pregnant, she just had her period. The pregnant one was another girl, Con's best friend, named Dao. But fortunately, my Con had returned. There was still a chance for everything. I would think of every way to be good to her, to satisfy all her requests as much as possible. Things with Con were settled. But I was worried about my mother-in-law. Time and again, I tried to test my sister, wanting to probe what she would think if I were her son. My mother-in-law seemed to be very satisfied with me, so my pressure was also reduced a lot. But Con was constantly worried and scared. The moment she saw her mother, her expression was panicked. But I never thought my sister would be so smart. She had noticed the clues from the very beginning and had already figured out the matter between me and Con. No, that's not right. I should call her mother-in-law now. I'm getting married soon. In a few months, I'll have to change how I address her and call her mom. I clearly remember my mother-in-law once asking me, "You've called me sister for so many years. If I ask you to change it and call me mom, can Professor Shen's pride handle it?" I replied, "As long as I can marry Con. This pride is not needed. My wife, you have a lecture today. Do a good job." A year after getting married, Con had made tremendous progress in her research field. She was even invited back to her old university to give a lecture. She had just finished applying her lipstick and immediately kissed my ear. Aren't you coming with me? Of course, I am. It's just that this time, I'll be in the audience. ... This was the first time I had seen her on stage. Different from that year when we first met. Now she was more confident, more daring. It wasn't just me who was mesmerized by her. Even the male underclassmen's eyes lit up when they looked at her. Hey, I heard this is our senior. Holy crap, this senior is so beautiful. I wonder if she has a boyfriend. I have to go ask for her contact information later. I frowned tightly, displeased. We've been married for a year. How can people still think she's single? I turned my head to look at the two clueless kids behind me. I deliberately exposed my ear, pointing to the lipstick mark on it. The two kids were a little stunned, then took out tissues from their pockets, wanting to, very kindly, help me wipe it off. I was so scared I quickly slapped the kid's hand away. What are you doing, teacher? My good intentions are not being rewarded. Didn't you tell me to wipe it for you? I smiled happily. No, I wanted you to see. This lipstick mark is from your senior's kiss.